The relationship between humans and dogs is legendary.
Ah, for sure. It's why we call them man's best friend.
Every new pet owner, they start with this dream. A loyal, well-behaved companion who just makes life better.
But that dream, well, it can run into some harsh realities pretty quick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The accidental chewing, the barking fits, all that frustration. So today, we're going to try and shortcut that frustration. We're doing a deep dive into an extensive set of expert notes on dog training. Our mission here is to pull out the foundational knowledge you need, the basics, the psychology, the equipment, to help you, the owner, move past those stress points.
And what's so fascinating about these notes is the core philosophy. It isn't just about training the dog.
What is it then?
It's about the owner training themselves. It really starts with the owner understanding their pet and, having very clear goals.
Right. If you don't know what success looks like, you can't get there.
You can't. Okay, so let's unpack this by looking at the things that cause owners the most stress.
Let's do it. Let's jump straight into those common pain points. The material is very clear that these are the first roadblocks you have to get over.
The first one, of course, is the big one. House training.
Always.
And the notes, they acknowledge that some pets are just, well, they're harder to train than others, which can make an owner feel like they're failing.
Yeah, but it is solvable, right?
It's solvable for almost every dog with the right research into timing and consistency.
And that ties into the next point, which is behavioral adaptation. It's easy to think all dogs are fine anywhere, but the sources remind us that things like noise, weather, new people.
Oh, they can be hugely disturbing for some breeds. That sensitivity creates stress in the pet, which then, bounces right back to the owner.
And that leads directly to destructive behavior. We've all seen it. The chewed up shoes, the shredded couch cushion.
And when owners feel powerless, they often get emotional, reactive.
Which doesn't help.
It doesn't. The guidance here is firm. Solutions have to be rational, researched, and non-threatening. You have to find the root cause.
And the final, really emotional stress point they mention, accepting new family members.
Especially a baby, that's a huge one.
It fundamentally changes the dog's world, and preparing them for that is just vital.
And dealing with all that, well, it requires the right tools.
Yeah.
This gets us into the equipment philosophy, which is, it's a lot more than just grabbing a leash at the store.
Okay, explain that. For basic goals, like setting boundaries, it's simple, right? A collar, a leash, some tasty treats.
Exactly. But the notes highlight this massive jump in complexity when your goals get more specialized.
Like a show dog or a service animal.
Precisely. For those complex goals, the equipment goes from off the shelf to custom made. And what's really important for you to know is that your local pet shop just not going to carry this stuff.
So you have to find specialty suppliers. Why is the gear so different?
It's often about very specific nonverbal communication, tiny physical cues for competitive or life-saving work.
I see.
But here's the bigger warning. No matter how fancy the GUI is, the owner has to be fluent in using it.
Because if you misuse it,
you create a disconnect. The dog gets mixed signals, one physical, one verbal, and that just leads to confusion.
And confusion is the enemy of good training.
The absolute enemy.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So if preparation is about tools and goals, then practice is all about communication. Let's get into the commands themselves.
Right. The notes really emphasize that commands need to be simple, easy for the animal to process. And they highlight what they call the big three basics.
Okay, first up is come. The source material says this is arguably the most critical command. Why is that?
Because enforcing come immediately, every single time, is how you show who is truly in control. It establishes you as the source of safety and direction.
It's non-negotiable.
Completely. Next up is sit.
Which people think of for, like, mealtime manners.
Yeah, but its real power is as a universal pause button. It's for creating stillness, for impulse control. It's how you calm an overexcited dog before things escalate.
And the third one is stay. The notes call this one intrinsically difficult.
It is, because dogs are naturally curious, they're social, their instinct is to follow you, their pack leader.
So teaching them to override that is a huge achievement.
A very serious achievement, and this is where we start to see the basics evolve into more advanced commands.
Like the place command.
Exactly. It's a direct extension of sit. It's not just sit, it's go to this specific spot next to me and sit. For show dogs, you might even teach them to do little circles around you while holding that position.
But the real test, I imagine, is sit and stay, especially when the owner walks away.
That's the one. The dog's instinct is to follow you, to shadow you. If they move, you have to calmly and immediately lead them back to that exact spot.
Again and again.
Again and again, until they learn the boundary is the space, not just your presence right next to them.
Which brings up a great point for you, the listener.
Mm-hmm.
Why bother? Well, think about the freedom that gives you.
Mm-hmm.
You can pop into a shop or sit at a cafe where pets can't come inside, and your dog will just stay calmly in their spot, ignoring everything.
Yeah.
That's the payoff.
That's the freedom you earn with consistency. So, with that foundation, we have to go back to the biggest stressor, house training.
Okay.
The notes make a really interesting point. It seems cruel to expect a dog to hold it, but establishing a strict regimen actually eases stress for everyone.
Because the expectations are clear.
Exactly. The techniques are simple: be consistent, pick a spot, watch for cues, take them there. And when they do their business,
You lavish them with praise.
you lavish them with praise. But here's where the psychology really kicks in. This is the critical mistake almost every new owner makes:
And with that,
the timing of the reprimand.
okay, walk me through that. I come home, I see an accident, and my first instinct is to scold the dog right there. What's wrong with that?
Everything. The dog cannot possibly connect your disapproval with the act of relieving itself if it happened minutes or hours ago.
The moment is gone.
It's gone. What the animal learns is to associate fear and anger with the presence of the mess itself, and with you being there when the mess is there.
So they don't learn not to go inside. They learn to hide it from you.
They learn to be fearful when you walk in the door, which perfectly sets up the case for rewards over punishment.
Right. So if delayed punishment is useless, what's the outcome with rewards?
The research is absolutely conclusive on this. Rewards are just. They're exponentially more productive. Punishment creates a dog that is terrified or confused or just desensitized.
They just check out.
They check out. They start to ignore the owner. And that emotional toll on a sensitive owner is exhausting too.
Whereas a reward system is all about positive association.
Precisely. The dog becomes eager to repeat the action because it gets them something good. But, and this is crucial, the timing here is just as important.
The reward has to be instantaneous.
It has to be immediate. If you wait even a few seconds, the dog might think the reward was for the next thing it did, like looking at you or starting to walk away.
And the lesson is lost.
Completely lost to confusion.
So let's shift to the stakes. If we just skip all this, what's the real-world cost? The notes call training essential for a good and unstrained connection.
Yeah, we can break down the consequences of an untrained dog into 3 big categories. First is just danger and nuisance.
Meaning the dog is a liability.
A total liability. It won't respond to commands, it's unpredictable, it might lunge at people, run into traffic, knock over a child. It becomes a menace.
Okay, what's second?
Destructive chaos. This is the daily grind. They dig up the garden, steal food, bother the neighbors.
Just general chaos because they have no impulse control.
None. It's often just boredom or anxiety that training would have helped manage.
And the third, the ultimate cost.
The saddest one, really, a loss of freedom. Because of all these behaviors, the dog has to be constantly restrained, crated, kept inside.
So the owner feels guilty, and the dog is stressed from being cooped up.
It's a terrible situation for both of them. Not a happy life.
Which brings us full circle. It's all about setting goals, using the right tools, understanding commands, and relying on instant rewards, not delayed punishment.
That's the path.
The final encouragement from the source material is, I think, really powerful. It says, don't ever think a dog is a lost cause. They're loyal. They generally want to please their master. That capacity to learn is always there.
And building on that, the material stresses that a dog's loyalty depends on the owner not breaking the trust they build.
Right.
So if training is all about communication and trust, and we know that fear and confusion destroy that trust, it raises an important question for you to think about.
Okay.
Beyond just training commands, what other things might owners unknowingly do that could break that trust? Things like being emotionally volatile or having a really inconsistent routine. Could those actions undermine even the best trained dog? That's the real challenge. Maintaining the trust you work so hard to build.